What if I told you that the thing you are sacrificing your life for right now might be completely meaningless? Think about it for a second. The promotion you are chasing, the perfect body you're killing yourself for, the bigger house you want to impress people with, the approval of people who will forget your name in 10 years. What if all of that, all that stress, all those sleepless nights, all those missed moments, ends up being a complete waste of your life? I'm not saying this as some motivational speaker trying to inspire you. I'm saying this as a man who is running out of time. I'm 47 years old. 3 months ago, a doctor walked into a quiet hospital room, closed the door and told me something that changed everything. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer, terminal, no cure. They gave me 6 months to live. That was 5 months ago. Now, if I'm lucky, I probably have 3 or 4 weeks left, maybe less. And when you hear something like that, something inside you breaks. Not your body, your illusions. Because suddenly all the things you thought mattered stop mattering. The money, the status, the reputation, the endless grind, it all becomes meaningless in a single moment. And that's why I'm talking to you right now. Not to inspire you, not to make you feel sad for me, but because I'm angry at myself, angry that it took a death sentence for me to realize how badly I misunderstood life. And if I can use the little time I have left to save even one person from making the same mistakes I made, then maybe my life won't feel like such a tragic waste. Because here's the truth nobody tells you. Life doesn't send warnings. You don't get a message that says, hey, you only have 5 years left, better start living. That's not how it works. One day you're normal. You're planning meetings, answering emails, thinking about deadlines, and the next day a doctor looks you in the eye and calmly explains that your life is almost over, and suddenly everything changes. The things you thought were important disappear, and the things you ignored your entire life become the only things that matter. For 20 years I was a corporate lawyer. At 38 I made partner at a prestigious firm. Corner office, 6-figure income, respect, power, everything society tells you is success. But the truth, I paid for that success with something far more valuable, my life. For 2 decades I worked 70-hour weeks, sometimes more. I missed birthdays. I missed anniversaries. I missed moments that I will never get back. My daughter had school plays. I wasn't there. I had depositions. My wife planned special dinners. I cancelled them. I had trials to prepare for, and every single time I told myself the same lie. Just a few more years, just a little more work, just one more promotion. Then I'll slow down. Then I'll focus on my family. Then I'll start living. But the truth is, I never slowed down, and now I never will. Because the time I thought I had was never guaranteed. And last week my daughter told me something that shattered my heart in a way cancer never could. She said, "Dad, you were always around, but you were never really here." And she was right. I was physically in the house sometimes, but mentally I was always somewhere else, thinking about the next client, the next case, the next billable hour, always chasing the next thing, always postponing life. And then something happened that still makes me laugh in the most painful way possible. 2 weeks after my diagnosis, When I was still trying to process the fact that I was dying, I received the email I had been chasing for 20 years. The email that represented every late night, every missed birthday, every sacrificed weekend. The firm was promoting me, senior partner, the title I had built my entire life around, the thing I believed would finally make all the sacrifices worth it. For years I imagined how that moment would feel. I pictured myself smiling, calling my wife, celebrating, feeling proud, feeling successful. But when I opened that email, I didn't feel proud. I didn't feel excited. I felt nothing. Actually, that's not completely true. I felt something. Rage, pure burning rage. Because in that moment, it hit me like a truck. I had traded 20 years of my life for a title that meant absolutely nothing. A title I would hold for maybe 3 weeks before I died. Do you understand how insane that is? 20 years for 3 weeks of recognition. And that's when I realized something terrifying. Success is one of the most dangerous traps in the world. I know that sounds crazy. Everything around us teaches the opposite. Work harder, achieve more, climb higher. But here's the problem nobody talks about. Success is addictive. You reach one level, and suddenly it isn't enough anymore. You get the promotion. It feels amazing for about 48 hours. Then your brain moves the goalpost. Now you want the next promotion. You make 6 figures. You celebrate. Then you start chasing 7 figures. You get the corner office. Then you want the bigger corner office. It never ends. The finish line keeps moving further away, and while you're chasing it, your life quietly passes by. Days turn into years, years turn into decades, and before you realize what happened, you wake up one day in a hospital bed, realizing you spent your entire life chasing things that don't actually matter. I had a friend in law school. His name was Marcus. We sat next to each other in class for 3 years. Brilliant guy. One of the smartest people I knew. But after the first year, Marcus did something that shocked everyone. He dropped out. He said something I still remember word for word. He said, "I don't want to spend my life fighting strangers in courtrooms." I thought he was insane. Honestly, I thought he was throwing his life away. While the rest of us chased prestige and money, Marcus became a high school teacher. He made maybe $50,000 a year. Meanwhile, I was making 3 times that. Later, 5 times that. I remember feeling superior, like I had made the smarter choice, like I had won the game of life. But now I realize something painful. Marcus understood life better than I ever did. You know what Marcus did with his life? He coached basketball at the school. He went to every single one of his kids' games, every birthday, every school event. He took his wife on spontaneous weekend trips. He volunteered at a soup kitchen every Sunday. He read books. He learned to play guitar at 40. He laughed. He rested. He lived. And me, I worked. I billed hours. I chased promotions. I accumulated achievements. But I never actually lived. Last month, Marcus came to visit me in the hospital. He walked into the room smiling the same way he did in college. And when I looked at him, something hit me harder than any diagnosis ever could. Marcus looked happy. not successful by society's standards, but genuinely, deeply, peacefully happy. And in that moment I realized something that crushed me. He was the successful one, not me, because he lived his life, and I postponed mine. There's another lie that quietly ruins people's lives, a lie I repeated to myself for 20 years without even realizing it. That lie is one simple word: someday. Someday I'll slow down. Someday I'll take the trip. Someday I'll spend more time with my family. Someday I'll learn the things I always wanted to learn. But here's the brutal truth I discovered too late. Someday is a myth. It doesn't exist. It's just a comfortable story we tell ourselves, so we can postpone living today. I used to say it constantly: I'll travel when I retire. I'll learn piano later. I'll spend more time with my wife after this case. I'll take a break once I make partner. Every single one of those promises was a lie I told myself. And the scariest part, I actually believed them. My wife Sarah is 43. We've been married for 18 years. She's the most patient person I've ever known. For years she would gently suggest little things. Maybe we should take a trip together. Maybe we should go away for a weekend. Maybe we should just spend a day with no phones. And every time I gave the same answer. After this case, after this promotion, after things calm down. But things never calm down. Work never slows. The world never pauses and gives you permission to live. You have to choose to live. And I never did. Last week Sarah was sitting beside my hospital bed. The machines were beeping quietly. The room smelled like disinfectant. And she asked me something that broke my heart. She said, "Do you remember when we talked about going to Paris for our 10-year anniversary?" I stared at her, trying to remember, but I couldn't. I had completely forgotten. And she said something I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. She said, "You told me we'd go when work slowed down." Work never slowed down. And now, I'm never going to walk the streets of Paris with my wife. I'm never going to see the Eiffel Tower at night. I'm never going to sit with her at a small cafe, drinking coffee, laughing, doing nothing. Those moments are gone. Not because I didn't have the money, not because I didn't have the opportunity, but because I kept postponing life. And you know what haunts me the most? It's not the big events I missed. It's the small moments, the ordinary ones, the moments that seem insignificant when they're happening, but become priceless once they're gone. Tuesday nights, Sarah would say, "Let's just sit on the couch and watch a movie." And I'd say, "Not tonight. I have work to finish." Saturday mornings, my daughter would run into the kitchen and say, "Dad, can we make pancakes together?" And I'd answer, "Daddy has work to do." I said those words hundreds of times, and every time I thought I was making a responsible choice. I thought I was building a future for my family. But now I realize something painful. My family didn't want a better future. They wanted me, my time, my presence, my attention. Not someday. Right then, and now those moments are gone forever. My daughter is 17 in 2 weeks. There's a very good chance I won't be alive for her birthday. I won't see her graduate. I won't walk her down the aisle someday. I won't meet my grandchildren. All those moments I assumed would happen were never guaranteed. I just believed they were, Because when you're healthy, when you're busy, when you're chasing success, you assume time is unlimited. But it isn't. None of us know how much time we actually have. And that's the cruelest truth of all. Being in hospice changes the way you see the world. When you know your time is almost gone, your perspective becomes brutally clear. You start paying attention to things you ignored your entire life. The nurses, the visitors, the elderly people who come in and out of this place. And I started noticing something strange. Some of the oldest people who came here, the ones in their 80s and 90s, they had something I didn't. They had this quiet peace, a kind of sparkle in their eyes. Not sadness, not regret. Peace. And I kept wondering, what did they understand that I didn't? One afternoon I met a woman named Helen. She volunteers here. She's 89 years old. Tiny woman, grey hair, walks slowly with a cane. But when she smiles, the entire room lights up. We started talking one day, and I asked her a question. I said, "How do you seem so happy?" She laughed, not the polite kind of laugh, the deep, genuine kind. Then she told me a story that I can't stop thinking about. When Helen was 50 years old, her husband died suddenly. Heart attack. No warning. One normal day, and then he was gone. And she said that moment changed everything, because she realized something terrifying. She had spent her entire life waiting to travel, waiting to pursue her art, waiting to live. She kept saying, someday when they had more money, someday when work slowed down, someday when life was less busy. But when her husband died, she realized someday is a lie. So she made a decision most people would never make. She sold her house, bought a small RV, and spent the next 15 years traveling the country. She visited all 50 states. She woke up next to mountains, watched sunsets over deserts, met strangers who became lifelong friends. And everywhere she went, she painted. Hundreds of paintings, landscapes, cities, moments, memories. She said something to me that I will never forget. I finally stopped preparing to live and started living. Do you know what hurts the most? I had more money than Helen ever did. More opportunities, more options, more freedom. But she lived, and I worked. She experienced life, and I accumulated achievements. She collected memories. I collected titles and emails. Now I'm lying in this hospital bed. I can't eat solid food anymore. I can barely walk. The medications make the days blur together. Sometimes I wake up and honestly don't know what day it is. And all I can think about are the tiny moments I threw away. Like one stupid Saturday in 2019, my daughter came into the living room holding her bike. She had just taken off the training wheels. She looked so excited. She said, "Dad, can you teach me how to ride without them?" And I remember exactly what I said. "Not today, I'm too tired." She asked again. I still said no. That bike is still in our garage, and I'm never going to teach her how to ride it. Another memory keeps replaying in my head. Sarah once suggested we take a spontaneous weekend trip to the beach. Just 2 days. No plans. No schedule. Just us. And I said, I can't. I have too much work. The beach is only 3 hours away. 3 hours. And now I will never feel the sand between my toes again. Never walk beside my wife near the ocean. Never hear my daughter laughing in the waves. All because I thought I had time. I thought there would always be another weekend, another vacation, another opportunity. But life doesn't work like that. Moments don't come back. Once they pass, they're gone forever. There's something I need you to understand. Something I wish someone had forced me to understand when I was younger. You think you have time. You really do. You think life stretches out endlessly in front of you. You think there will always be another weekend, another holiday, another chance, another year. But the truth is, you don't know that. None of us do. One day everything feels normal. You're planning the future, working toward goals, thinking about what life will look like in 10 years. And the next day someone in a white coat quietly tells you your time is almost gone. And suddenly all the things you thought were important disappear. Your job title, your salary, your reputation, your appearance, the opinions of people you tried so hard to impress. None of it matters, not even a little. When you're lying in a hospital bed with a few weeks left to live, you don't think about your bank account. You don't think about promotions. You don't think about the car you drove. You think about moments, the ordinary ones, the quiet ones, the ones you didn't realize were precious when they were happening. You think about the laughter at the dinner table, the road trips, the hugs, the lazy Sundays, the mornings when your child ran into your room just to say good morning. Those are the things that matter, and those are the things I traded away, piece by piece, for a version of success that now feels completely empty. Here's something else I realized recently. The things we chase, money, success, approval, they're not actually what we want. We chase them because we think they will give us a feeling. We think money will make us feel secure. We think success will make us feel worthy. We think approval will make us feel loved. But here's the truth. Those feelings were available the entire time. I spent 20 years trying to feel worthy through my career, trying to prove I was good enough by winning cases, by making partner, by earning more. But do you know when I finally felt worthy? Last week, when my daughter held my hand, looked at me with tears in her eyes, and said, "I love you, Dad." Not because of anything I achieved, not because of my career, not because of my money, just because I'm her father. That moment gave me the feeling I had been chasing for 20 years. And the painful part is, I could have had that feeling every single day. All I had to do was close my laptop, sit beside her, and be present. Next to my hospital bed is a small notebook, my bucket list. Things I always planned to do someday. Learn Italian, visit Japan, read the classic novels I always postponed, start writing the book I always talked about, hike the Appalachian Trail, learn to sail. That notebook is full, and none of it is going to happen, not because those dreams were impossible, but because I believed I had time. And the most dangerous word in the world is someday. Someday I'll start, someday I'll travel, someday I'll slow down, someday I'll live. But life is not happening someday. Life is happening right now. But life is happening My daughter turns 17 in 2 weeks. There's a good chance I won't be here for it. I won't walk her down the aisle. I won't meet my grandchildren. All those moments I assumed were waiting for me were never guaranteed. Last night Sarah asked me a question. She said, if you could go back and change one thing, what would it be? I thought about it for a long time, and finally I told her the truth. I wouldn't change one thing. I would change everything. I would work less. I would say no to clients and yes to my family. I would take the trips. I would learn guitar. I would sit on the couch and watch stupid movies. I would make the pancakes. I would teach my daughter how to ride that bike. I would walk the streets of Paris with my wife. I would live, but I can't go back. None of us can. The only thing I can do now is tell you this. Don't wait. Don't postpone joy. Don't sacrifice your life chasing things that don't truly matter. Because when the end comes, you won't care about success. You'll care about moments. The quiet, beautiful, ordinary moments with people you love. I have maybe 3 weeks left. Maybe less. My daughter is at school right now. My wife is downstairs getting coffee. And I'm lying here thinking about all the time I wasted, all the moments I missed, all the times I said, later. So please don't do what I did. Call your parents. Hug your kids. Take the trip. Learn the thing you've been postponing. Tell people you love them. Be present. Stop waiting for permission to live your life. Because I'm out of time. But you're not. Not yet. So the real question is, what are you going to do with the time you still have? Before you scroll away, think about this. If today was your last normal day, would you live it the same way? If this message meant something to you, subscribe and start living before life reminds you how short it really is. Before you scroll away, think about this. If today was your last normal day, would you live it the same way? If this message meant something to you, subscribe and start living before life reminds you how short it really is.